Okay, so I thought I'd show you my method of making bao buns in the Thermomix. So I'm just showing you the dough for this particular video. First of all, I'm putting in some plain flour. So 360 grams of plain flour into my Thermomix. And then I'm going to add 4 grams, so that's 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Next is 20 grams of milk powder. And I'm putting in 20 grams of caster sugar. Now, a lot of bao buns are a lot sweeter than this, but I don't actually like them that sweet, so I only use 20 grams, but you could go up to 30 or even 40 grams if you wanted to, but I stick to the 20. So the next thing I've done is I've just mixed all those ingredients together so that they're evenly combined. And then I'm putting in 200 grams of water, 20 grams of oil and 5 grams of instant yeast. Now, I'm using instant yeast in this case. I'm actually using just cold tap water, but you could use warm tap water if you wanted to make these faster. But I had a little bit of time in between making them and I'm wanting them to proof. But if you use warm tap water, they will prove a bit faster. So what I'm doing here is now I'm kneading them. Now I'm kneading them for 3 minutes, and if you've done my my scroll course, you'll know that kneading them for a specific amount of time will actually heat up the dough, so it'll be a bit warmer. And I'm doing this on purpose for 3 minutes so that we can actually prove them faster as well. So I've just turboed my dough in the bowl and flicked all the dough to the outside, and then I pull my bowl apart to get all the dough out. Now this is the next tip. Put loads of oil on your hands so that when you roll these out, they don't stick to the bench, and I put oil on my hands and on my rolling pin, and then I get the dough to the thickness that I want it to be. You should get 12 to 14 bao buns out of this recipe, and then I'm using a cutter to cut out the shapes. While I'm doing that, I actually get some baking paper and I'm going to cut these into little squares. So they're going to be wrapped around the whole bao bun. This will stop them from sticking to each other in the Varoma. So I'm just using a knife here to cut my shapes out. So you can see I'm making little squares, and I'm going to cut those out. You'll see now that when I pick one up, they actually match the size, and I'm just going to fold it over like that and pop it in my Varoma. So I'm doing that with the rest of them, just making sure that they're all the right size. And folding them over. So the bao buns will actually stick to each other on the inside, but you won't get all the bao buns stuck together. I hope that makes sense, by putting the baking paper in between them. So you just continue on by rolling them out again and making more. Okay, so now I'm popping them in my Varoma. So you just pop them in and you can actually put the baking paper touching each other. And now it probably makes more sense to you what I was saying before about cutting them out. Another tip is when you roll your dough out, let it sit there for a little while before you cut out the circles. If you roll it out and cut out the circles straight away, you'll get the dough actually springing back and the shape will be a bit weird. So if you want to have them stay round, you roll out the dough, let the dough sit there for a while before you cut it. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that they're evenly spaced inside my Varoma, and I'm making sure that there's a little gap in the bottom so that the steam can penetrate into the chamber. The next thing I do is I put a litre of water into my Thermomix bowl. I didn't bother cleaning it out. It's just going to have water in there, and I'm popping the lid on and I'm going to kettle mode, and I'm setting it to 100 degrees. So when it gets to 100 degrees, it will tell me and turn off, and that way I can put my Varoma on and know that I'm straight away starting to steam. Okay, so after 15 minutes, my Varoma is ready to go onto my TM bowl, and I'm just popping it on the lid now because it's at 100 degrees, and I'm setting it for 15 minutes, Varoma temperature, speed 2. And you'll see that after they're done, they're cooked like this. They're also light and fluffy. Once you've done that, you can remove them from the bowl. Now, if we're not using them all at once, I make sure that while they're still hot, I put them into a container that I can seal. If you don't do that and you let them go cold and then seal them off, you'll find that they'll go really firm. So I do this while they're really still warm, and you'll keep them really nice and soft. And there you go. I took a few of the best ones out and I filled them up with my char siu pork. And look at that one. That was a favourite with my 3-year-old grandson.